Hi guys, welcome back to the fourth video in our REST API authentication series. So in this very video, we want to start connecting our backend to our front end. So we already have our form created in last video for the login page and sign up. So in this very video, we want to start processing this form, connecting our front end to our backend. Right? If you've not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Alright, so without wasting most of our time, let's continue. So first of all, let's create a state to handle the form inputs, the form feeds. I think we should start with the sign up component. So let's go to the sign up component. So we're going to create the state to handle our form data. So we're going to use an object to handle our data. So we have email. The initial state is going to be empty string email. The same for other feeds. All right, so these are our default states, which we can access with the form data and the set form data to change the states. All right, so for every of our form, let's create a value. So for the email, we're going to set the value, which is going to be our state dot can say form data, which is our state dot email. All right, or better still, we can destructure this particular state so that we can just pass them directly. So let's quickly destructure it here. So we can say cons I want to get the email, the first name, last name, the password, and the password too, all coming from our form data. All right, so once we destructure it like this, we can just pass them in. Say email goes here, and the value this goes with first name, same for the others. So all right, so once we pass those value, so we need to create an unchange event. So we're going to say unchange. All right, so we need to create a function that is going to handle the unchanged state. So these are just basic primary React. You can actually do more when you are working on the Re project, but the purpose of this little React front end is just to test out our auth API. So that's our goal here. So we are not really into building a full-fledged React project. So we're going to create a very simple unchange, handle unchange. It's going to be an arrow function taking E as our event. And basically what we want to do is just to call the set form data. And in here, we're going to pass the object. So we're going to spread the default state. All right. Then if there's any change, we want to pass the e.target.name equals to the e.target.value. All right. So this is what your change is going to do. So what is happening here is we are spreading the default state, which can be any of the value. So once the user has entered the email first and is entering the first name and last name, we want to keep track of those states, and we want to change and substitute for every value e.target.name, which is actually targeting this name. That is the name, all right, that you are giving for each input to match whatever the value is, which we've set to be our state feed. So handle and change, we're going to call the handle and change here, and then same for others. All right, so you can actually use ref if you want. I think there's another options that is very popular in the React community. All right, so that's for our handle change. So let's also define the handle submit. So cons handle submit also going to be an arrow function. We're going to first of all to e.prevent default function. So once we do that, let's bring this above. So let's do a check to make sure all our data are available before we process any submit. So we're going to say if we have an email, or if we have a first name, and if we have a last name, a password, and if we have a password too. Let's say when we don't have it, so when there's no email, or when there's no first name, or when there's no last name, and when there's no password and confirm password, we want to throw an error. So when any of these fields are not available, we want to give an error message. So throw an error. Right, I think we should create a simple state to handle that. I just create an error state. So if we have that, we basically actually want to just set error to all a string of all fields are required. All right, there may be somewhere within our form. I guess at the top of our form we can render that state. Yes, yeah, we can have a simple p tag to display our so we're gonna say if we have an error, so we're gonna say error. When there's an error, we want to render the error, or we want to just render an empty state. All right, I think that's fine. So if we have an error, so we can give this a little styling of color red. So we'll say color, and we can add a little padding of 1 pixel. Okay, so that will render our error if we have an error. Okay, so first of all, let's see our data. So if that's not the case, let's see the data that we are receiving, which is coming. So we're going to say console.log from data. All right, so let's see that. I think we can call this handle submit on the form. So here we're going to call it on submit. We're going to call the handle submit. All right, I think we can test that sign up page to see if actually we are getting the data before we make our API call to send the data to our API. So our dev server is still running, so let's head back to our browser and go over to the login page. So let's open up our console and see what we have. So right now it's empty. Let's try and fill in these data. Let's enter our email. Okay, there's a problem. The confirm password is not typing. Let's see. Confirm password. What did we call it? In our state, we call it password 2. Let's see what we call it here. Oh, sorry, this should be password 2 as well. Let's confirm password. So call it password 2. Okay. So let's think we have to just refresh this and go one more time. So I'm going to be fast. So if we hit submit, all right, we have our data all coming. All right, so that's cool. All right, so we are getting our form data, which is fine. So let's see if that little validation that we have is working. So let's just omit one feed and then let's try and submit. Okay, obviously let's see if we have. Okay, that did not work. It's still submitting. So let's see what happened. Yeah, I guess I know why. This should happen in the S block. So bring this one in the S block. All right. And if we try to submit again, you can see we are not getting. Let me just clear the terminal to know if we are getting the data. So if we hit submit, you see we are not getting any data, but our message is not displaying. Okay, let me see. Let's try and find out if our state is being set. So let's just do a console.log the error state. Okay, now we are getting the error state. So let's refresh and okay, we are getting the all feed are required, but it's not displaying. Let's see why. In the place where it's supposed to display in the p tag. Okay, it's actually displaying, but okay, what we'll do, let's bring this error feed within this card. I guess that card is applied to the form. So let's just grab this and put it inside the form. So within the form, let's add that here. Let's see what happened. Okay, I think it's better displayed now. It's fine there. So that's out of the way. Another important thing is the password 2 test type should be a password. All right. Then okay, we are getting our data here. So what we are going to do is we are going to make our API call here. So first we already have the data, which we are already consoling log here. So here we are going to make an API call. So let me just put some comments. Then the next we need to do is check our response. If the response is good, we want to redirect. So redirect to the verify email component. Or if that's not the case, whatever errors that is coming from our server, we also want to pass it to the error state. Pass to our error state. All right, because we are validating the password in our backend. That's the password 1 and the password 2. Okay, so this is all we need to do. So we need Axios to make our API call. So let's just import Axios. All right, we've installed that already. So we also need to import the use navigate from React Ratadon for us to navigate to other rats. Then we're going to be using React and Toastify for notifications. I think we need to install that. So the package for notification, I think it's called React. Yeah, React Toastify. So this is what we are going to be using. So we're going to install it. So we're going to install, so pip install, npm, sorry, I said pip install. We're going to do npm install React Toastify. So let's head back to our code. So down here, we can quit our server. And here we can run npm. We're going to hit enter. Our installation is complete. We have say 2 vulnerability, 1 moderate and 1 critical. So let's just run this npm audit fix. All right, so everything is fine now. We can proceed. So what we need to do is we want to make our API call using Axios. So at this point in time, we're going to say Axios.post. We're making a post request, and our URL is going to http://localhosts 8000/API/v1. Sorry, this should be /v1/auth and /register. That's the endpoint. Then the data we want to send is our form data. Sorry about that. So this is going to return a response for us. This is actually returning a promise. So I can call it res. So what we're going to do, let's make this submit in a sync function so that we can await the Axios. So here we can see await Axios.post, and they give us the respond. All right, so we can do the check and say if our response.status equals 201. All right, if our status is equal to 201, that means the user was created successfully. So as a result of that, we want to redirect to the verify endpoint. Sorry, to the verify email component. Let's first create the navigate instance. All right, we're already importing use navigate. So on the top of our file, we just create a variable called navigate, and we'll use the use navigate. All right, so this one gives us the navigate function that we can easily use to navigate between components. So in here, we can easily just call the navigate, and we put in the path that we want to navigate to. Verify email is /otp/verify. So that's where we are redirecting to /otp/verify. So as we are redirecting, we also want to give a message, which should be the message that is coming from our response, because from our backend, right? So we have a message property coming, the data for the user and the message. So, but the message is what we want to display for the user. So we are going to set up the React Toastify to send the toast notification, which is more like a flash notification. So what we need to do is we've installed the package. That's the package we just installed last. We need to go to our app.js and we need to import something from React Toastify. So we are going to import the toast container. So once we import the toast container, we want to render it within our app here. Inside our router, we want to put the toast container. So this can actually take it has a lot of props that it can take by default. So if you check the doc, right, if you check the docs, these are the available props that it can take, but all these have a default value already. So the default value is okay, we can use that, but if you need to change any of these values, we can change them through the props. So once we have it loaded here, we can easily import the toast, and here we can toast the message. So here expecting the message that we want to toast. So let's get the message from our response. Our response is returning an object of both message and the user. So we want to get the message. So let's just say let's say respond equals to res.data. And here we can say we want to display the respond.message. We can actually see what our response is by saying console.log.data. All right. I guess that's all we need to do here. So let's try that. So let's run our dev server here. Say npm run dev. All right, everything is running. So let's go and test that application. Sorry, here to be toast.success message. All right. So toast.success will respond.message. Don't forget to call this, okay, and do submit. Save this. Alright, so everything is refreshed. So let's see what happens if we try to create a new user. And also make sure your backend server is also running. Just remember one thing we failed to do, or I failed to do rather, on the backend with the course configuration. We've not finished setting it up, so let's quickly do that. So on the backend settings.py file, we only bring the Django course header into the applications and set the middleware, but we've not set the course origin settings. Let's add that somewhere here. I think that is course underscore allow, or I think there's course underscore allow or origin. You can set this to true. And there is csrf underscore trusted origin. This we can provide our front end. Then we can add our base URL. Remember, we're using Vite, so let's copy this as well. All right, we can actually get all this from the Django course header. So let's just check it out to make sure we are not missing anything. So just search for Django course header. Just scroll down for the settings. All right, it's course allowed origin, then course allowed or origin. So this is what we are using. So let's copy it, make sure we are writing the correct one. Course allowed origins. Okay, so it is csrf underscore trusted origins, not origin. All right, so that's fixed. So we can go and test that our sign up. So let us quickly. All right, so let's try that, and hopefully everything works fine. So let's provide an email. So let me call this test user 01 company.com John Mike. All right, so let's try that and see what happens. So if we hit send, okay, our API endpoint was hit, but instead of post request, we are seeing the option request. Let me see what we are getting from. We are having course error. I think we just fixed that. Let me double check my course settings again and see if I'm missing anything. We have our course header. Let's check our middleware, course header middleware. And yeah, I have my course setting to allow all. All right, so let's use this instead. So let's try it one more time. All right, so we've changed our course to specify to add this our endpoint. Sorry, these are our front end and URL. So we are using the course allowed origins, no longer the allowed all. So once we save this, we can go back and retry it. We're having course error, so I hope this fixed it. All right, so let's try it again. So let's try it. All right, so we are having some errors. Let's see what the error is. We are still having course error. Okay, we had a post request. We also have feed, and then we have an ASIOS error. So let's see what the ASIOS error is. So let's check our backend. We are still having the option request. So let me double check one more time. I will get back to you guys. Okay, guys. Actually, there's no error. I made a mistake. I was actually running the wrong server. I had other Django projects open on my laptop, so the server I was actually running was not that of the project. So that's the more reason we're having that error, because we are sending post requests to some other Django project. So that's my own error. So let me run the server for the actual Django project now, which is our ultimate RestAPI authentication. So this is where we're supposed to run server. All right, so this is running now, so we can go back. All right, I think I'm getting my response back. So let's check our backend and see. Okay, the response was 201, but for some reason we are not being redirected. You see reference error. Response is not defined. Response is not. Oh, sorry. This ought to be a cons of response. So our response was successful, but for some reason I failed to put the cons before my variable. So I believe you guys must have catched that error before me, or you must have spotted the errors before me. So that's more reason why we are not getting the response. So our response was successful actually. So let's try one more time. I guess that user was already created, but let's just try one more time. All right, so it was actually successful. and we had a redirect. But I'm having, and the message, something is wrong. So let me quickly check and find out what the issue is. I guess has to do with React Toastify, but we can get a response back. You can see, hi, thanks for signing up. Passcode has been sent for you to verify your email. All right, so our API response is successful, but the little issue we are having has to do with a package that we just installed, which is the React Toastify. So I guess something is missing. Let me quickly check and find out what the issue is with React Toastify. All right, so if you refresh, um the reason why we're having that big looking check mark, the react toastify was not properly be rendered because I failed to bring in the css for React Toastify. So if you go deeper into the documentation, I'm supposed to bring in this CSS from the docs before it can work fine. So that's the reason why it was displaying like that. But our API call was fine, was created, our email was sent, the users received the email. So we can see the test email came in for test user 42. Even the previous one we ran earlier also was successful. So what we simply do is just to bring in that let me pick it up again. Grab this CSS import and just bring it into your app.js. Then save. So that's where we have the issues. That's why it was not rendered properly. So I actually thought maybe because of the props. So all these props are already applied by default. So except you want to change the default behavior of these props, that's when you need them. So in the process of debugging and finding out what the issue is, that's the reason why I brought them in. So it's not this, it's just the css that I'll fail to bring in. All right, so when we save, everything should be okay. All right, so before we test one more time, let's just quickly implement the backend connection for the verified email so that we can send OTP. So we'll just quickly do that. So that is very simple to do. So we just create another state. We'll call this OTP and set OTP equals to use state, and this is just expecting a string. And that's that. Then in the form, we just have a value for OTP, and the change we just have this arrow function directly inside. So taking the event e as the event, set OTP e.target the value. All right, so just one feed, so there's no need for us to create a separate function for handle a change. So we just need the function for handle submit, which is going to be an async arrow function, just taking e as the event. So first of all, prevent default. So once we do that, we're going to say if we have the OTP code, we want to make a request. So we'll say whatever the respond is, say respond equals to await Axios. So we need to bring in the Axios.post. So let's quickly import Axios. Axios.post, and the endpoint is http://localhost/8000/API/v1. All right, then the data is going to be our OTP. So we're going to create a simple object. Should be the value of our OTP. And once we do that, we also want to check if the responder status is okay. If it's 200, that means it was successful. What we want to do is we also want to navigate to the login page. So we need to bring in the use navigate hook. Also, we need the React and Toastify. All right, so with that import out of the way, we can instantiate create an instance of navigate. All right, so this navigate function, we can use it now to navigate to the login page. So navigate /login, and also want to give a toast message to success, and the message is going to be coming from our response, because our response is giving back respond.data.message. all right, that's going to be the message if it's successful. All right, okay, I guess everything is fine. So what we're going to do is just call this on submit. So in our submit form, we're going to call a submit, I'm going to say so that handle submit. All right, so fingers crossed, everything should be fine. Yes, we can test now. All right, let's try that and see. So back here, we still have our verified page that we redirected to, and then our email. We still have the OTP codes for the user. So let's grab the OTP code, and we can paste this in here, and then try to verify this user. All right, so we are redirected to, okay, we have some glitch, but it was successful. But what we're going to do, let's try the circle again. So let's try and create a new user and see if, so let's create a new user to test that the sign up and the verify user went. Okay. So if we hit the send button, all right, I think what we need is the loading state. Okay, we get the message. Hi, thanks for signing up. Passcodes has been sent to verify your email. Great. So what we actually need to know that everything is working is a loading state. But we can do that. You can do that on your own. But the point is we can communicate with our API. So if we go back to our email, you can see a new email has been received a few seconds ago. So if we get to this email, we can get our passcode, which is our OTP code. So we can grab this OTP code, try this RTK, hit send, account verified successfully, and we have our login page. All right, that's great. That's cool. So let's quickly add our login functionalities. Let's connect our login page to our backend as well. All right, so in the login, we're going to create the state for the login data. So we're going to say login data and set login data, which is going to be email, going to be an empty string by default, and password the same. Yeah, let's create the onChange, just the same for handle onChange, just like we did for the sign up. Make this an arrow function, takes in the event. And here we just want to set the login data and set the a target name. All right, so that's for the change. So on the form, let's provide the value, which is going to be our login data email. In the password, the same thing, the value login data password. Then the the onChange, the onChange is going to be our handle onChange. The same thing for this, the onChange will be a handle change. All right, so that's that. So let's create the submit. So we're going to say handle, which is going to be an async arrow function, which is also taking an event parameter. Then first we need to prevent default. Then we need to make sure that we are receiving the data just as we did. So say if, okay, first of all, let's say if not login. All right, let me just kind of the structure a login data. So we're going to say if there's no email or if there's no password. Where I want to set the error state. So set error. I guess we don't have that error state, sorry. So let's create the error state. So I'm going to say for error and set error use state. Then also let's create one more state for loading. So let's say this is loading, set is loading. By default, we're going to set it to false. All right. So if there's no password, there's no email, we want to set this to all credentials are required. Or let's say email and password are required. All right. And then the S block, we're going to make our API call. So firstly, we're going to set the is loading. Sorry, not set is loading. We're going to set is loading true before the API call. We're going to say respond await post then slash login. And I'm going to pass in the login data. All right, so in here we are going to say cons respond equals to res data, as the data coming from respond. And then secondly, we need to also change the set is loading back to false after we've gotten our data, and we're going to check if the respond the status, like we always do, is equals to 200. That means everything is fine. Respond we are getting, we've received it. We want to first of all set our tokens in our local storage. Yeah, I know that is not a best practice to store your tokens in your local storage. For production application, I will not advise you to do that. Why use the HTTP only cookies? Maybe some other tutorials will do it. We do that. So first, let's just console log our respond. Let's see the respond, whether it's a fail respond or we also need the navigate object. If not, sorry, the navigate hooks. So we're gonna import that as well. Use navigate. Let's just simply create a navigate object. All right, so once we have that navigate function available, so first of all, let's see the data that we are getting back, the structure of the response. So if the response is successful, we just want to release a simple toast message. So toast.success, and let's just put login successful. Let's save this and provide this on submit. On submit, we want to provide the handle submit. All right, so let's save this. Fingers crossed, let's try that. So let's quickly find a way to display a very simple loading state. Should I do it with let's do it within the form, I guess. If it's loading, if that's true, we simply want to display a very simple p tag with the word loading. All right, so if we have a loading state, we just want to display that. So let's go and try our login page at. So if we head back to our login page, let's inspect whatever we're getting. So let's try it out. So for that user that I just created, so if we hit send, all right, so we are having some issues. So let's see what the issue is. Oh, we didn't import Asios. Sorry about that. Let me quickly import Asios. Import Asios from Asios. All right. So that's on me. Sorry about that. Let's quickly refresh and try one more time. So if we try it again, okay, we're getting loading and we are getting some kind of errors. Okay, handle submit error. So let's find out what the issue is. HTTP. Oh, sorry, I misspelled localhost. That's on me. I misspelled localhost. So it should be localhost. Alright, I think that's the issue. So we can try that again. So if we hit send, we have loading or get login successful and the loading is off. Okay, fine. So let's experience our data. We got an email, we got the full name, then the access token and the refresh token. Alright. So let's quickly handle those tokens and our user data. So we don't want to just give this message. We want to set localhost. Okay, there's something I'm going to do. So let me just set it's okay. Let's create a cons, call it user. It's going to be an object. We'll have the email. It's going to be our respond.email. It's going to be names respond name. All right, then in here we can do our sets. So say localhost dot set item, where the key in this case we're going to have the key of user and the value is going to be our user object that we just defined. All right, that's the first key. Oh, sorry, we need to stringify this by saying json.stringify user. All right, so we do for the others as well. We're going to have access, and that is going to be json.stringify respond.access. I guess that's the name. So let's check here from our respond. It's called access underscore token. Then the last one is localhost.set, and we're going to have json.stringify. All right, so once we have them in our localhost, we want to redirect to the profile page, so /profile, of which we've not actually defined yet. Then after that, we want to give a login success message. I think we created a profile page. Yeah, we have a profile page, but then there's nothing yet in this profile page. So in the profile page, we are going to have a very simple profile page, and then we need to get the users from our local storage. So I'm going to create a variable here called user from local storage. So I'm going to say local storage dot get where the name is user, and we are going to pause it. So say JSON pause whatever we're getting from our token. So that will pass it into a user object. So once we do that, in here we are going to just create a simple h2 tag, and here we're going to say hi, and here we're going to say if we have a user, if there's a user, we want to say okay, just if there's a user, we just want the user dot full name. All right, so hi, if we have a user, to be if the user is full name is Henry, we hi Henry. And here we can just provide a simple paragraph that can say welcome to your profile. And we can provide a button here, something like a logout button. Like I said, logout if you want, and this we can give a class of logout that's btn, and this we can give a class of container. I think I have a class of container. Okay, so I have some kind of css already designed for this container and for this logout button, I guess. So these are the basic logout profile page, very basic. And we can also get the token. So let me just say token where we have access. All right, this retriever token. To do a very little minor protected route, something very basic, I can bring in the React filter down. I'm gonna bring the use navigate, and from React I'm going to bring the use effects. So I can have a use effect where whenever this component loads, we want to check if we have a token available. If there's no token, we want to redirect the user back to the. So we're going to say if the JWT token is equal to none, as we don't have a token and we don't have a user object. So it is not, and we don't have a user object. We want to call the navigate. Oh, sorry, I've not created my navigate function. Navigate equals to I use navigate, and I can call the navigate, and here I want to navigate back to the login page. If that's the case, all right, so we're going to save this. Okay, these are basic login. So let's just make this, give this a simple style. Test align center. Oh, sorry, this should be camel case. All right, test align center. Okay, that's cool. That's our basic and profile page. So we have everything in place. So let's try it one more time. Let's see if we can get navigated to our. All right, so let's just refresh the page. Make sure we've saved every component. They're saved. So let's go back and try. Let's just refresh this page. So if I hit login, all right, I have my login successful. I'm actually redirected to the profile page, but something is not right. So let's check our local storage. Sorry. So let's confirm and see if those items see no rat match location slash profile. What did I call it? So let's check. Oh, sorry, slash dashboard. Okay, so it should be slash dashboard. So let's check our local storage. Go to slash dashboard. All right. Okay, we have our data here. Oh, names, not full names. So in the profile page, this should be names, not full names. I'll later change it to names. All right. So that's that. Everything is working fine. So we have our sign up integrated with our backend. We have our login integrated with our backend, and also our verify endpoint integrated as well. I know we have a lot of rough ride with the React integrations and all that, little errors and all that. All that are part of the process. All right, this video is already getting too long. Thank you guys for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe, and also don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. See you guys in the next video.